Somewhere out there, people are broadcasting every financial milestone like it's a press release. But there's a quiet group doing something far more strategic. They're building real wealth, and nobody in their family has any idea. And today, we're going to find out exactly why. If you're someone who keeps your finances private, even from the people closest to you, you've probably been called secretive, guarded, maybe even selfish. But here's where it gets weirder. That behavior, it's not a crack in your character. It's your nervous system running an extremely sophisticated protection protocol, one that most people around you don't even have the capacity to activate. This isn't a personality flaw. It's a precision-engineered calibration of how your brain processes threat, trust, and long-term survival. And the science behind it is, frankly, unsettling. Let's go inside the brain for a second. Most people experience money as a social currency. It makes them feel seen, validated. And that feeling? It's dopamine. Specifically, dopamine released in the nucleus accumbens, your brain's reward center, every time you signal status to others. Sharing your finances, flexing a purchase, talking about a raise. For the average person, that's a dopamine hit. It feels good. It's almost addictive. But there's a layer to this nobody talks about. In people who keep their wealth private, the prefrontal cortex, the part of your brain responsible for long-term planning and impulse control, is significantly more active during financial decisions. A 2021 study published in the Journal of Behavioral Economics found that individuals who exhibited financial privacy behaviors showed elevated activity in the insula, the region of the brain that processes risk and internal bodily signals. The insula is basically your internal alarm system. And in these individuals, it's not broken. It's dialed up. Their brain learned, possibly early, possibly painfully, that exposing financial information creates vulnerability. So it built a shield. Dopamine isn't released when others know. It's released when the system is secure, when the plan is working, quietly. Now here's where it gets interesting, and a little uncomfortable. Most people operate on what psychologists call tribal financial behavior. Their money decisions are deeply influenced by social comparison. They spend to belong, they share to connect, they flex to feel safe within the group. And that group, it feels like safety. But it's not autonomy. It's biological compliance dressed up as choice. The people who keep their wealth hidden, they've broken that loop. They're not rejecting connection out of cruelty. They're operating from what researchers call individualistic autonomy, a stable internal sense of self that doesn't need external validation to feel secure. They're not playing the same game as everyone else at that dinner table. They're not even in the same stadium. If this is sounding familiar, if you've ever felt like your relationship with money is fundamentally different from everyone around you, I'd seriously encourage you to subscribe to this channel, because we break down this kind of hidden psychology every single week. People assume that someone who's financially private is emotionally cold, detached. But that's a misread. Their emotional energy isn't disappearing. It's being redirected. Studies in behavioral psychology show that individuals with high financial privacy tend to invest their emotional bandwidth into long-term projects, future security planning, and, surprisingly, causes, and people they deeply care about. Just quietly, without an audience. They're not withholding love. They're protecting the conditions that make love sustainable. There's a difference between someone who doesn't care about their family and someone who is quietly making sure their family will never have to worry. And from the outside, those two, things can look almost identical. And now, the part that might actually sting a little. For many people in this group, this behavior didn't start as a strategy. It started as a response. Maybe money was a source of conflict growing up. Maybe someone close to them was manipulated financially. Maybe they watched a parent's trust get exploited. And their brain said, never. Not again. Psychologists call this a money script, a deeply held, often unconscious belief about money that was formed in childhood, and now runs quietly in the background of every financial decision you make. If that's your story, if your financial privacy is actually a wound that healed into armor, that's not weakness. That's one of the most intelligent things a nervous system can do. It took a painful lesson and turned it into a permanent protection protocol. You didn't choose this. Your brain chose it for you. and it chose it to keep you safe. So here's what I want you to take away from this. You are not broken. You are not boring. You are not cold or secretive or difficult. You are playing a fundamentally different game, one where the scoreboard isn't visible to anyone but you. And honestly, that might be the most powerful position in the room. The people broadcasting their net worth, they're optimizing for dopamine. You're optimizing for durability. The world will keep rewarding the loud ones, the ones who perform wealth publicly, but history and compound interest have always favored the quiet ones. You're not behind. You're just not playing where anyone's watching. And that is exactly where you want to be. Now, keeping wealth a secret is one layer of this. But what happens when the people around you start to notice the lifestyle mismatch? When someone close to you begins to suspect and starts asking the wrong questions, that's a completely different psychological battlefield. And we're covering it next.